I left the UK as a skinny kid. I came to America and I instantly got fat because British food is shit. It explains all these years I was thinking like, man, why was I skinny kid? Then I came to America. The food was shit. I just wouldn't eat it growing up.
Are you sure it's not just because when you went to America and ordered a breakfast, they served it on a fucking dustbin lid?
Chuffed means happy? It's like, no, chuffed is what happens when I'm hiking and my pants right up my ass the entire time.
Well, if that makes you happy, then who am I to argue with that? We've got a sport we call football because there's a ball that we kick with our foot. The American sport should technically be called carry egg.
They've decided to just leave out the magic. It's like it's the UK, it's the home of Harry Potter. Where the fuck's the magic?
Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Mildly Controversial Podcast. I am here with my good friend and self-proclaimed sidekick, Baz. Say hello, Baz.
Hello, Baz. It's a bit subdued there, wasn't it? Hello, Baz.
We've not done that for a long time, and I miss it. I said at the time that joke wouldn't get old, but we stopped doing it. So that's like a little fucking hell. I lost interest in my own sentence then. That's not a good start to the podcast, is it? I was like, I'm bored saying this. People are definitely going to be bored listening to it. Anyway, if you're still listening, thank you. That's very charitable of you. We're going to do an episode on things about the UK that don't make sense, brackets, to an American. This man has been on before, and we met him doing a TV show called Richard Hammond's Crazy Contraptions. Or if you're in the States, and newsflash, the data for year-to-date 2023 suggests we've got as many listeners in the States as we have in the UK. So if you are listening in the States, their show is on Discovery Plus and called Contraption Masters. The presenter of the show is a guy that we met when we filmed it, and his name is Zach Umperovich. There he is. How are you, mate? Did I say that right?
You did, in fact.
Yeah.
People do, but I've known you long enough that I could,
Yeah,
I'd be worried if you got it wrong.
I knew that I'd learned how to say it. I just wondered if I'd forgotten. So, all good. One thing we did need to cover first is just before we started recording, you announced that just in the last week, you have had some very special news. Talk us through it.
I have indeed. So, it's getting released on Wednesday, but it was for Frito-Lay's, the potato chip company, whereby we had this massive project. They came to me wanting to power a recording studio with nothing but potatoes, and ended up pulling it off phenomenally. So phenomenally, in fact, that we actually broke a Guinness World Record, and it actually earned me my third Guinness World Record.
It's just a shame we don't have a fanfare to be able to fanfare.
Ta-da! There you go. That's as good as it's going to get. So you say you've got a Guinness World Record for this. This sounds to me like something that nobody's ever tried before. How's that become a Guinness World Record? What's the actual record? What's the wording of the record?
The highest wattage from a potato battery is 11.43 watts. So we got the highest wattage. People have made potato batteries before, and the biggest one before this, they generated 1,950 volts of power. However, if you know anything about electricity, it's volts and the amperage that gives you power, and their wattage was something like 0.0195 watts, and they only use maybe 1,000 potatoes, something like that. We just scaled it up by 8 times.
Yeah, fucking rubbish, whoever they were.
If you could work out that machine that's powered by bullshit, me and Mike are in winners.
Right, okay, so...
I've missed you guys.
Thank you, man. So we miss you too. Look, so yeah, as I say, we did a show based on things about America that don't make sense. And do you know what? We've got a huge number of listeners in the States, like I said, and it seemed to go down pretty well. So I think the people that we've brought with us on this podcast growth from the States kind of know our sense of humour and know that we weren't really having a go. It was all tongue in cheek, and they enjoyed that. So, but yeah, we had the idea that we thought, look, let's give the USA the right to reply. So, Zach, do you want to kick us off then? What's the first thing that you think doesn't make sense about the UK?
Yeah. Okay. So I spent 3 months in the UK filming that show, and the number one thing that always bothered me: why does everyone in the UK talk like they're basically 2 years old? It's basically you're just fumbling things out of your mouth that just sound ridiculous. The best thing I could think of is wobbly trolley. Hey, you've got a problem with your shopping cart? Hey, go deal with your wobbly trolley. How about your fucking broken shopping cart? How about that? Oh, you need to go change your nappy? How about a diaper? Chuffed means happy? It's like, no, chuffed is what happens when I'm hiking and my pants right up my ass the entire time. It's like...
Well, if that makes you happy, then who am I to argue with that?
No, but it was just like the entire time there's all of these slang words that, like, it just doesn't make sense. It's like a 2-year-old had come up with it. Or even things that, like, to this day, I still don't follow along. Like, what a cock-up, or, what was it, arse over tit.
Yeah.
What the fuck does that mean?
So arse over tit is quite clearly you're falling over, you're going over, like, your arse goes above your tits. It's so self-explanatory. It's unbelievable.
But who was the first person to come up with that? There's the question.
It was definitely a northerner.
Yes.
I don't know, it kept going on and on, because behind the scenes on our show, people would say these things and I'd start creating a list of, like, what is this bullshit that you're talking about? And I have to go to Hammond and I'd ask him things, and he'd take the piss out of me. And
when you were questioning the language, did Hammond mention the fact that it's our fucking language? How very dare you criticize it?
You know, he did mention it in the form of about 30 creative ways to call me a cunt. So
he's very resourceful, Richard Hammond. I'll give him that.
He's a creative bastard. He really had such a string of obscenities every single time I'd question anything.
You are right. There are lots of things where we've sort of like come up with childish terms. Like, so wobbly trolley is, I don't know exactly where it's from, but it's not something around here that's used very often. But I've definitely heard people say it. I think it's to do with the wheels, isn't it? Because the wheels don't run in straight lines.
Well, how would you describe it then, Baz? If you've got a trolley and one of the wheels, which inevitably always happens, one of the wheels is fucked. How would you describe the trolley then?
Oh, I've got the fucked trolley. That's how I'd describe it.
I'd definitely say wobbly trolley, but that's because it's a trolley and it's wobbly.
But also, I've been in a supermarket where I've just literally got my trolley, and someone else, when they think I'm not watching, has changed theirs for mine in the supermarket. When they're both empty, obviously.
I was going to say, is that because you bought more exciting stuff than they have?
Well, quite possibly, but they had the wobbly trolley.
But this feels like a bigger problem in the UK than in the US, because we don't just go around stealing other people's carts. We don't just... I don't know. You just fucking deal with it. It's a shopping cart.
It's definitely not a shopping cart. Listen. I'm not having this, right? The language is literally called English, right? So any bastardization you lot have done, right, is immediately discounted here. So you can't come and while we're on it, spelling. Come on now.
I agree.
There's a U in colour. Through THRU? Come on now.
You're just confusing me at this point. What the fuck are you on?
When you say it's like let's say it's okay, it's going back to the supermarket. It's like, right, okay, so it's in aisles 6 through 9.
Okay, right? Sure, yeah.
6 to 9. It's 2 letters, TO. Why have you made it through and spelled it wrong?
629. Because it sounds like you're saying an area code at that point. 629.
Oh dear. Anyway, we could literally do a whole episode on words that you lot say wrong. I'm not having it.
Well, good. That was the easy one on all of that. Obviously, I grew up there. For many years. I left, went to the United States. I came I left the UK as a skinny kid. I came to America, and I instantly got fat. In fact, within a year.
How the hell did that happen, Zach? Talk us through it.
Because British food is shit. There is just... I love a good chippy. Like, a chippy, a sausage roll, phenomenal things. That is it. The whole time I was there, it's just every time we wanted to go out or Hammond wanted to go, we would go out for curry. We would go out for fish and chips. That was fucking it. We wouldn't do anything else because nothing else was edible while I was there. The catering that we had for the show, delicious. That guy was phenomenal.
That's phenomenal.
It was really good. I love that guy. But no, it was... it explains all these years I was thinking like, man, why was I a skinny kid? Then I came to America. The food was shit. I just wouldn't eat it growing up.
Are you sure it's not just because when you went to America and ordered a breakfast, they served it on a fucking dustbin lid?
To be fair, all right, I'll side with you on this one. I moved from the UK to the Midwest, and the very first thing that I noticed was there was a McDonald's within about 5 minutes from my house. Prior, it was 45 minutes. We went to the McDonald's. There was, I shit you not, a buffet table in the middle of it. Every Sunday, they would serve breakfast buffet in a McDonald's. You could have as much McDonald's as you wanted. That was a contributing factor. Okay,
so but it's definitely the lack of good quality food in the UK that meant you weren't massively overweight.
Black pudding, your guys' obsession with blood. Like, what the fuck is that?
Zach, I'm going to have to stop you there. You definitely don't know that I'm from a town called Bury, just north of Manchester. And basically, if you're slagging off black pudding, you have basically picked a fight with the entire fucking town. It's world famous, apparently. It might not have made it to the States, but black pudding's incredible. But I mean, it's my birthright. I'm legally obliged if there's black pudding on the menu to order it. Don't get me wrong. I've been to the States and I've enjoyed the food. And very rarely finished it. And I've got a big appetite, so I think that might be more related to the fact that a lot of Americans need fucking stabilizers. I don't know how that's translated. Trainer wheels, I think it might be in the States. Is that the one?
That's the one. I knew what you meant, but
yeah, there you go. I've translated it for our listeners. I've had a number of occasions where I've been overfaced by the portion sizes in the States, but there was one time we went to Santa Monica and we went to the Cheesecake Factory. Everybody says, "I'll go to the Cheesecake Factory, it's incredible." And I was like, "Oh, nice one." So we went to the Cheesecake Factory and we made the mistake of having a starter before our cheesecake. We had a starter and couldn't fucking eat the cheesecake. And that was a starter. It wasn't even a main meal.
Oh my God.
We had to go back the day after and order nothing but the cheesecake.
You're shitting me.
No. It was just the portion of we got a starter each. Yeah. And I swear to God, the portion size was like 2 meals. I was so full. I said to him, I was like, "Do you fancy cheesecake?" And I was like, I couldn't eat another bite. I'm going to have to come back. So we went back the day after, ordered nothing but the cheesecake.
That's why you go with a crowd. You have to strategize the Cheesecake Factory. I mean, number one, you either read the menu in advance because it's a novel as it is on its own. It's like 20-page menu. Yeah. But yeah, you bring a crowd or, you work yourself up for that. Same as Fuddruckers. Did you ever hear of Fuddruckers?
That sounds like something that you are literally like, your mum's in the room and you want to say motherfuckers. And you absolute fudmuckers.
I probably said something similar as I walked in there because it's a place where you can get gigantic burgers and then they have a full ass topping bar. You can put as many toppings as you want on the burger. And if you're like halfway through the burger, you can go back and you can get more toppings. You can just and it's just a big nacho cheese dispenser. You can run out of pickles and no, fuck it. Just let me grab more pickles from the bar and add it on there. Oh, pineapple. If you want to add pineapple to it, sure, just slather it on.
I have a question anyway.
Yes.
What the fuck did you have as a starter in the Cheesecake Factory?
Do you know what? I think it was mac and cheese. And I just thought mac and cheese as a starter is going to be a little small portion of mac and cheese, just to have a bit of a taste for it. Fucking, it needed 2 people to bring it to the fucking table. Do you know what I mean? It was enormous. It was like, that's a starter. Imagine if you ordered 3 courses. Ordered the starter, couldn't even face dessert. And there's people in there who were chowing down a starter and a main course, and then going on to the cheesecake. But let's not forget the reason that Zach was skinny in the UK was not the ludicrous portion sizes in the States. It was the fact that the food's shit.
While I was in the UK, I lost, I think, 15 pounds over the course of 3 months because I just didn't eat that much other than what was served to us.
Is that because the plates were the size of plates?
No,
not the size of football pitches.
I just didn't eat anything when we weren't outside the studio. I was like, other than going to the, there was a place in Oxford, this wonderful fish and chip place. I'd go there whenever I could, but otherwise, Sunday roast. You know what? I'll say something nice about the Sunday roast. That was delicious. When me and Richard went up to the lakes, that was all right. You have me on that, but beyond it, just no.
You've obviously gone to the wrong places, Zach, because the UK has got a huge number of Michelin-starred restaurants. Not suggesting you should have to go to those, but it just illustrates that there is a huge amount of options. But do you know what? I think the UK. We shouldn't shy away from the fact that it was like, a lot of the most popular meals in the UK aren't traditional English or traditional British meals, because we're a multicultural society, and we're like, everybody loves a curry, they love a Chinese, they love pizza, they love pasta, they love Japanese, Vietnamese, like all these, which is less of a thing in the States. I noticed where I am. It's that, if you go out, there are much fewer options to eat cuisine of a different country.
Definitely certain places. Where I am in New Hampshire, we get a little bit more variety because we don't really have anything but, I don't know, like East Coast seafood, stuff like that. But pizza, Chinese, those are kind of our main. Pizza, Chinese, and Mexican food. That's our 3 pretty big staples up here. So, all right, I agree with you.
Sounds good to me.
All right, so you make valid points on the last 2. This one, though, this is my next point that I was thinking of. I drove. So one of the days I had a weekend off, and I drove up to Wales, and I wanted to go up to Mount Snowdon, it's a place I grew up, visited quite often. I finished up at Snowdon, and I drove from Snowdon to Cambridge in an evening. And when I arrived in Cambridge, the hotel staff acted like I was Phileas fucking Fogg from Around the World in 80 Days. Acting like I traveled the whole world. Like, fucking hell, you came all the way from there to there? That's unreal. I drove 3 hours. It's like, this is absolutely nothing. It's like, if I want to take a holiday, or if I go anywhere in the state, just like, oh man, 5 hours, that's not so bad. 9 hours, like from here to Niagara Falls for me is 9 hours. In 2 weeks' time, I'm driving from my home in New Hampshire to Seattle for a project. That's 3,000 miles one way. And I'm like, this doesn't seem so bad. No.
I can verify this. I went to Scotland recently. I drove all the way to Scotland, and I made a big deal about it on Facebook and social and Instagram, and all the comments from Americans were like, "I go that far to the local shop."
Say I've been to the States, been to quite a few places in the States, and I think it's just because we are quite a small island. We've got loads of stuff. We just haven't got the massive expanses of fuck all in between, which the States has. I mean, we were in Phoenix, and we went from Phoenix to Vegas, and we were like, this is cool. So we got a Mustang convertible, and thought, let's have a little trip down there and all this. And it was just like, really cool. You get to the outskirts of Phoenix, and then it's just fucking nothing for hours and a straight road with nothing. And do you know what? The thing is, though, this is a funny thing, and the Americans will probably laugh at me on this one, but you don't get cacti over here, right? So we were leaving like Phoenix. We got into this vast expanse of fuck all, and my wife went, "Oh my God, look, there's a cactus." Like, on the movies and shit, you know what I mean? 7 hours later, she wasn't pointing them out after that, do you know what I mean? Because it's all we'd seen on this straight road.
Gets old really quick, yeah. Same thing. North Dakota, same exact thing. Once you hit the west part of the state, you run across a field of sunflowers, and you're driving through. It's like, my God, this is beautiful. This is amazing. It's just nothing but sunflowers on the side of this. 400 miles later, by the time you hit Fargo, and it's still sunflowers, you're like, who the fuck planted 400 miles of sunflowers nonstop from Montana to Fargo? It's like
That's it. The first was like, "Oh, those sunflowers are beautiful." 400 miles later, it was like, "Is there nothing else in the fucking world other than sunflowers?"
Legitimately, it was unreal that the whole state, like North Dakota, is not known to have much of anything but sunflowers and nothing but. Look, I will be driving through probably in 2 weeks. I'll reconfirm this, but I'm pretty sure not much is going to change except the sunflowers have been replaced with just ass loads of snow.
Speaking of snow, the UK and Ireland, just a bit of snow, everyone loses the shit.
Yeah.
They're just like, fuck, what are we going to do? Because we only get 2 or 3 days a year of it, our tyres aren't capable, anything. It's just like, you just start sliding about and just like, oh, let's just go home, let's hunker down, let's eat tins of food and hope that in 3 days we can get out again. That's all we do. We just give up.
Okay, from the Northeast, 10 inches, 12 inches, no problem there. But you can't speak as
all right, now you can't say that kind of statement and not expect me to clip that out and use that 10 and 12 inch statement completely out of context. I'm just letting you know.
No, but literally, as you explained it, it's the same thing. Like if you're from California, from the bottom half of this entire country, from Texas, like Atlanta. Anytime Atlanta gets even just a dusting of snow, you hear about the 50-car pileups because people just absolutely lose their damn minds. That, oh my God, this white fluffy shit hit the ground. We're going to drive like assholes now.
I remember seeing a TikTok live of a guy in Texas where they had snow there. Was it last year or the year before? It was last year, wasn't it?
Mm.
Yeah, he's 26 years old. He didn't have a coat, so he didn't even know what to do.
Oh shit.
He didn't have a coat.
Well, I meant
It's warm
like
down there.
Yeah. No, but so he didn't have a coat.
No reason.
That would withstand the heat because he just has jackets, so he didn't have a coat.
Americans will actually be on my side on this one, but the fascination with football, or AKA soccer, why? It's like, okay, I'm not a huge sport guy myself. Like I throw bowling balls and trampolines, I do crazy shit with it, but you're just kicking a ball back and forth, and maybe if you're lucky, in 60 minutes, one person will hit that ball through a net, and people lose their goddamn minds. Now, I know I'm a vast majority in the entire world on this, because I know football is vastly popular in the world, but I don't know. I know I've never gotten behind it. America's not gotten behind it. Well, I couldn't tell you. Does America have a soccer team?
Oh, the women do. The women do. The women's American football team, not American football team. The American women's soccer team are very, very popular.
Sorry, Baz, I'm going to have to stop you there. You cannot call it soccer. I don't care if you're trying to translate it to the States. I forbid you from using that word. Please continue.
Well, according to the American football team, that's going to get lost as well, isn't it? So
people get excited when there's a goal scored in football because we're not as needy as Americans that need every single sport to have 400 fucking points. Do you know what I mean? It's like, so you don't get excited when you score points in American sport because there's thousands of them scored. You don't need to get excited. When you've only got a handful of points scored, it makes it exciting when you do score points, right? That's the first one. The second one is that we've got a sport we call football because there's a ball that we kick with our foot. Okay? The American sport should technically be called carry egg. It shouldn't be called football
but the name doesn't matter. It's still boring as fuck. It's like you might score once, but guess what? You're still watching people. It's like watching track and field, except confusing. Just like it's like, and then good, then something happens. So it's like, okay, you might sit through 45 minutes of it, and just like I'm getting tired watching these people run around. Just like.
Okay, are we going to go there? Are we going to go there? You're slagging off football because there's 90 minutes of watching people run around, kick a ball. How's about all fucking day watching people hit a ball with a stick? Baseball.
I thought you were going golf there for a second.
No. Golf I'm all good with. Don't worry about that, mate. I don't watch golf. I play it. It's brilliant. Okay. But yeah, if you're rocking up somewhere and you're spending like 5 hours or whatever watching rounders for grown-ups, I don't get that one.
I don't watch soccer. I don't watch baseball. Basketball is all right. I see the your point there, because it is, it's more exciting of like, hey, something actually happens a lot more frequently. I don't love it, but it's just like out of everything, it's probably the most interesting because shit's actually happening.
I was going to say, I think what the point Zach's making is Americans need a game or any kind of sport where there's no end, where it's 0-0 or 0-0. Because there aren't many sports in America that have 0-0 sort of like ends to them, are there?
Hockey would probably be the closest, but
yeah, who plays hockey?
Some ducks.
Yeah.
I've seen the film.
I shouldn't slag off on it because that's popular in my region, but still, it's the same damn thing. I was like, all right, if I had to defend my opinion, hockey is the same thing, whereby it's literally just, it's a little bit more interesting because a fight is allowed to happen. You can slug somebody. It's just like, all right, great.
It's encouraged.
It is. If you see some blood, then fantastic. If you see blood in soccer, somebody throws up a little yellow card and just like they stop it right away. It's like, why?
Do you know what? I do have to defend basketball. I played basketball when I was younger, and I do like watching basketball. But a basket has got to be absolutely spectacular for anybody to get excited about it, and that's the difference. Mm-hmm. See, when a lot of basketball games they're done after the first quarter. You know who's going to win, and it's just like the rest of it's pretty much a procession. It's just like, okay, yeah, we'll just like, and there's a lot of wasted time. Whereas football, even if you're 2-0 up with 20 minutes to go, it's still on a knife edge. It's still exciting, and then when something does happen, there's more to it, and it's and like I say, it's the rarity of, or the relative rarity of a goal being scored makes it more exciting when it is scored. Like I say, I played basketball, I watched basketball a lot. I do enjoy watching it, but most of the time when a point is scored, there's barely a polite applause because it's just one of 80 odd.
It sounds like you're a virgin describing sex for the first time. Of just like you're sitting there waiting for a score to happen. It's like, that's how I'm hearing the describing of just like, all right, we got a score. Hooray! Fuck yeah!
To be fair, that's exactly my reaction to impending sex now at 48 years old, by the way.
That's the case of basketball. Whereas it just, you know what? Doesn't matter how many times you score. There's still a celebration at the end of it.
Like I've watched a lot of stuff recently where I don't even understand baseball because they're talking about stuff like makes no fucking sense anyway, about run-outs and fucking all the things they have to do. How many people are on bases and stuff like that. And it makes no fucking sense.
There's first base, second base, third base.
Yeah.
They count them for you.
Are we talking about sex again? Because there's definitely first base, second base, third base now, isn't there?
Baseball it's a great excuse to get drunk for $100 for 2 beers. Why is dodgeball not a more popular sport? Because that's fucking interesting.
Yeah.
It's like that. I would watch the shit out of that.
Yeah, especially if the balls were on fire.
Perfect.
There you go.
Hire me. I know how to do that.
I went to watch a live American football game at the home of my local football team, professional football team. But because there was no big screen, there was no communications, there was no, and as a result, I didn't have a fucking Scooby-Doo what was going on. There were a lot of people running around and there was things happening. I was like, I have no concept of what's going on here. And do you know what? If they took away the Jumbotron or whatever it is, and they took the mic off the referee, the vast majority of the 100,000 people that are watching the Super Bowl wouldn't have a fucking clue what's going on either. And that is why football, real football, the simplicity of it is beautiful, because you can see what's going on, you know what's going on, and it all plays out in front of your eyes, and you don't need instructions, you don't need a referee with a microphone telling you what's going on, and you don't need close-ups on a big screen. I think we've slagged off enough sports on both sides of the Atlantic to be able to move on now, so we've done well there.
I do. I do have one last one, but it is relating back to food because, Americans were kind of obsessed with food. The American listeners, we are very familiar with our Skittles flavors. We're very familiar with our Starburst flavors. And, there was one day on set, I was just craving a Starburst. I love the little pink ones. And, they're phenomenal. And, one of the runners, they go out, they get a thing of Starburst, they deliver it to me. And, it's got the red one, it's got the orange one. And it's like, what the fuck is this? There's a green one in there, and then purple. It's like, you have black currant and lime Starburst. And I was like, I started asking, like, well, what
that's two separate ones, by the way, if people are listening. Yeah. There's a black currant one and a lime one.
I'm referencing the pink because I truly don't know the flavor of it, but it's possibly strawberry. But
strawberry.
I started asking around. It's like, well, where the fuck's the pink Starburst? And like, the pink what? The best Starburst, the real Starburst, the one that only people care about, the one that in America there are bags of literally only pink Starburst. Where the fuck is your pink Starburst? No, you guys have black currant. What the fuck is a black currant?
I'm not surprised you don't know what a blackcurrant is, because literally 95% of blackcurrants grown in the UK go into Ribena, and you haven't got a clue what Ribena is. So there you go.
Not one damn bit.
So talk me through the pink Starburst. What flavor is the pink Starburst in the States then?
It's just it's magic. That's the flavor.
Hold on a minute. Are you slagging off the fact that what we've done in this country is taken Starburst and given them actual flavors of actual fruit?
Yes, because somehow in America, they have packed in the flavor of magic into pink Starburst. And it made me so sad that episode. You could tell. I think on camera, I think I noticeably was sad because that's literally all I wanted. And then learning that this is a product, the overall product is made in this country, but they've decided to just leave out the magic. Just like it's the UK, it's the home of Harry Potter. Where the fuck's the magic? Where's the delicious pink damn Starburst? I swear to God, ask any member of production. I was going around for hours bitching about a pink Starburst. Truly.
Do you know the problem you've got with Starburst is that in the UK, it used to be called Opal Fruits.
Yeah.
Right? Opal Fruits. I don't know where the opal came from, but fruits gives you a clue as to what the flavors are. There's not this. And when we did the episode about the States, we had some American foods, didn't we, Baz? And one of them was I forget what the product was, but it said the flavor was white mystery.
They were lemonade sweets, weren't they?
It tasted like lemonade, but I did Google it afterwards, and apparently you get the white mystery. It can be different flavors. And the bits at the end, when they've made all the flavors that they make, they throw it all together and just pipe it out and just go, fuck it, we'll sell these to these idiots who'll buy it anyway.
It's the leftovers all combined together. It's the hot dog of the...
It's the mechanically recovered offal of the confectionery world.
I will never get over the fact that you guys don't have the magic Starburst there.
Like I say, if you I'm pretty sure that if you can't accurately describe what that flavour is, your argument that it doesn't exist in the UK is null and void. You can't
it's strawberry.
Hold on. Why the hell in this country do you not have the nondescript flavour, I'm not sure what it is, that everybody likes, but nobody knows what it is? Why do you not have this?
I mean, what flavor is the pink strawberry? Most people say that the pink Starburst is strawberry. I mean, it's literally labeled as, I don't know if you can see that, Pink Starburst is the name.
Jesus.
Its name.
I mean, maybe it's going back to the going back to what we were saying about the USA and the eating habits and propensity to be obese. Yeah. Maybe the problem is that the USA don't recognise what fruit is because it's natural and it's good for you. And I know that Starburst isn't, but do you know what I mean? That, like, we base our flavours on things that exist and things that are good for you and flavours that people are aware of. But, you know, I mean, if you live in North America and you've never had a fruit in your life, then it's probably not the best thing to name flavours of Starburst after fruits you've never had.
I wish I could argue this point, but I fucking hate fruit. I will eat an apple. I'll happily eat an apple every so often. But if you ever watch Parks and Rec with Ron Swanson eating the banana, same damn reaction. It just and it's why every single meal I give my kids some sort of fruit, because it's just like, no, you guys need to not be like me and just, you know, enjoy it. And they absolutely love it. They think strawberries are dessert and a dessert treat, or mangoes are like, if they're extra good, they get a mango. And just like, yes, all right, you know, that feels like good parenting.
So is this a thing now where, like, the kind of next generation of Americans are sort of giving fruit to their kids because it's something different and stuff they've never had before?
Yeah, pretty much. It's doing the stuff that we didn't get in our generation. Like, I still bring it up with my mom of just like, why the hell didn't you make me eat fruits and vegetables as a kid? It's like, well, because I didn't like them. Like, you see a problem here, right? So, like, I was not raised on fruits and vegetables, and the only way I can eat vegetables even now is if I make it into a big soup mix. And I love soup, so I'll pack it with as many vegetables, colorful stuff. You know, that's how I'm losing weight, etc. But I can't eat vegetables on their own. Fruits, I just never developed the taste for them. And it was like, yeah, no, my kids need to not be like that. Same thing of like, you know, my parents told me for years, like, oh, we're going to get you a playground. You're going to have fun. You're going to do everything like that. And, you know, it's just like they didn't follow through on that promise. So
you make your own playgrounds.
I've gone all over the Northeast, and I've found parts of playgrounds that people have been just, you know, they want rid of. And I've constructed this super playground in my backyard so that, you know, it's got a 20-foot boat in there. And we building a little slide. So just like, man, I never got it, but fuck all my kids will. So
that's amazing. I love the fact that you're bringing that to your kids, and I love the fact that you're bringing fruit to your kids. I did, and do you know what? I was taking the piss when I said that it's like, you know, Americans don't know what fruit is, but here we are.
Can I ask Zach a question? Because it's been a long time since I've had one, but describe a Twinkie, because we never did this on our American food ones, did we? And Twinkies are possibly the most famous sort of snack food that I can remember growing up about Americans. Okay.
You know, I haven't had one in maybe 10 years, but I can just full on accurately describe it. It's sponge cake. Think of, you know, a nice sponge cake, like a Genoese sponge cake, stuff like that. Really soft on the outside, and then filled with a pretty thick, rich whipped cream. You know, and it's basically all throughout the log, and it's this heavenly spongy little cake that you take a bite of. You get the cake batter, the cake matter, and the you know, and that cream in the middle, and it's, yeah, fucking hell, you're making me salivate right now. What are you doing?
Is it true that they never go off?
I'm sure that's got to be off somewhere. I mean, there's probably enough sugar content in it to stabilize it.
To be fair, I'd suggest that there's a lot of American foods that, if you find one at the back of the cupboard that's been there for 40 years, it's still okay to eat. Because there's nothing natural in it at all. There's nothing biodegradable, or there's nothing organic in it.
I remember moving from the UK to the US and just like opening a loaf of sandwich bread, and it just like, why is this sweet? It's like, why is this bread sweet? And then even now, it's like you open up anything. It's like, why does our bread contain this much sugar? It's mildly disgusting. It's fantastic if you're having a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but beyond that, it's just
jam.
You look at the packaging on anything, the amount of sugar and literal bullshit that's all of our product. I almost exclusively shop at Aldi now because legitimately, I'll look at the back
because the Germans know what actual food is.
Yeah, they do. It's just like, their products, just like everything is just pretty well, it is what it's supposed to be, and maybe some salt, maybe one stabilizer, but otherwise it's like, all right. The only reason I started caring too was just like, oh shit, I had kids. It's like, all right, now I want to live a little longer. It's like, I've done a lot of cool things in my life up to this point, and it was like, it's like, shit, I've been up Everest. I've got Guinness World Records. I've owned TV show. It's just like, all right, fucking hell. It's like, I'm not sure how much better life is going to be. So it's just like, all right, if I pop off one of these days, then it's just like, all right, whatever. Who cares? Now that I have kids, it's just like, fuck, all right, now I need to live a little longer. And it's like, all right, let's look at the back of these things, cut back. If you do happen to be, if you're from a UK crisp factory and you're listening in, who the fuck came up with prawn flavor? Who decided, sat down and said, you know what? Sour cream and onion, salt and vinegar. This isn't good enough. Let's add shrimp. Let's add a prawn to these crisps and go, yes, this will sell.
Traditional Christmas Day starter, prawn cocktail.
See, look, that's delicious, but why in a crisp? Why?
Yes. To be fair, there's lots of other. You've got roast chicken flavour. You've got beef flavour. It just seems like somebody at the Walker's factory, which is the same company as Lay's, they just, at some point, someone who's in charge of coming up with the new flavours just went, what did I have for dinner last night?
I was going to say.
I think that's how they've come up with it, to be honest.
It's like, who left you alone on an island? You just left you alone, and it just like, you're coming up with the shit. Who hurt you? Who hurt you? You have chicken chips. You have prawn chips. Blackcurrant bullshit.
Blackcurrant bullshit. There's definitely no product called blackcurrant bullshit. And we've already established that your problem with blackcurrant is it's a fruit. Okay.
The problem was that prior to looking it up before coming on this, it's like I had never heard of what a blackcurrant was.
But do you know what? It is a sensational flavour. Let's have it right. It is the best one because just as you said that the Starburst, you can buy Starburst, just the pink Starburst in a bag. You can buy the strawberry and blackcurrant ones just in a bag in the UK. So that's what you're missing out on, my friend. That's what you're missing out on.
To be fair, and to my own shame, because I have no problem trying new things, but in my anger, I completely threw that purple Starburst clear across the studio. I think I set one up. Do you remember the archery kit that I gave you guys? Yeah, I was firing the bow and arrow at them just against the wall because I was so upset that this is what I had instead of the pink Starburst. That, to my own shame, I never actually tried it.
Mate, you are missing out. You are missing out. Do you know what? I'm going to send you some. I'll get a bag of the ones that are just the pink and the purples. So the strawberry and the blackcurrant, and I will get it sent to you. And we'll have you back on. We'll have you back on. Do you know what we could do though? To be fair, what we should do, we had a little go at taking the piss out of a few American foods. Sorry, I'll rephrase that. Trying and rating and reviewing some American foods. Definitely not just taking the piss. So I think what we should do is we should have you back on again. And in the meantime, I will send over some British and Irish foods to you. You send over some American foods because we just literally tried some stuff that was on a UK website. So we'll send some stuff to you that encapsulates Britain and Ireland, and you send some stuff back to us, and we will try it on the podcast, and we'll give that a go. How's that sound?
Sounds brilliant. Yeah, sounds brilliant.
We'll have to send you some Ribena as well, so you know what that's all about.
Oh.
We'll come up with a little package between Baz and I and send it over to you and vice versa, and that'll make a great show. So instead of just picking stuff at random, it's like this stuff here is the best of British or whatever, and you vice versa, rather than us just picking what was cheapest on a website, which is what we did last time.
Richard, he brought up what was it, Jammy
Dodgers.
That's the one. Yeah.
Have you not tried those?
He brought them, and then I feel like I was supposed to, and then you guys know me, I was running around with like my head cut off most days. So I don't think I got around to.
Right, we're sending you Jammy Dodgers.
If I did, I don't even remember it. So
Jammy Dodgers will be on the list, mate. It's a British institution.
All right,
no problem. Right. Okay, so Zach, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you being on here. And I hope our listeners from the States appreciate that we've given the opportunity for somebody from the USA to retort and tell us things about the UK that they did not understand. And look, we've said it now, we're going to do it. There will be a future episode where Zach will be back. He will be trying UK foods that we're going to send to him, and vice versa. Baz and I will try foods that Zach is going to send over that encapsulate what is best about the USA. So we're not just going to handpick stuff. That's our chance to showcase what is best about snack foods of the UK and vice versa. So, Zach, thanks again for your time. Really appreciate you being here. Great to catch up, mate. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure to see you guys, and be prepared when that package comes. You're probably going to put on like 5-6 pounds.
Looking forward to it, mate.
Yes. All right. Cheers, guys. Thank you so much.
Baz, thanks again for being here. And thanks everyone for listening, and we will see you next time.